evening, ladies and gentlemen. There will be tonight a very special event. We have live music with our violinist Valim. And me, I'm a storyteller from whatever country, and I will tell you now a story from the Arabian Nights. And it was introduced by this beautiful song, by this beautiful piece of music. And I will continue the travel that had started right now. There was once a king of the kings of Persia, and he had a beautiful, the most beautiful court. This court was built with beautiful colors, and there were people standing in the first floor and the second floor, and they were looking down at this beautiful court. There was the most delicious foods being served. There were the most pleasant servants in the world who came there to serve the people, and many seats were offered to everybody, and the people came and said, "Sit down, take a seat," and there was a smile on the face of the people. So wonderful was the court of this king, of the kings of Persia, and this king had the name Sindibad. His hobby was to go hunting. Suddenly, the gazelle jumped over the king and ran away. I will hunt the gazelle, and found himself in the midst of the desert. And you know, as you are here, the desert is very dry. There's no water, and if you find water, it may be very salty. And there may be no people in the kitchen who prepare wonderful food or beautiful drinks as cocktails. No. And the king got really thirsty in his throat. And the king thought, what am I going to do? And suddenly, the king saw a tree in the midst of the desert. And he was dreaming he would find beautiful women there. Maybe they would have beautiful drinks, and they would share their drinks with him, the king. So the king rode faster and faster and faster to arrive at the tree, because if there is a tree in the midst of the desert, there is water. Is it there? And the king didn't have a menu card to read which beautiful drinks he could order. He didn't have a menu card to order for food, but at least there was water dropping down from the tree. And if you're in the midst of the desert, the water is the most important thing that you can find. And the king said, Alhamdulillah, thanks God. And he collected the water with a golden bowl. And as the bowl was full, he put the golden bowl on the ground, and he didn't take the water from himself. The king not only had the horse with him, he also had a falcon. And the falcon was the most beloved friend of the king. And the king put the water there, and he said to his friend the falcon, "My dear falcon, get down and drink from the water." What did the falcon do? He took his head against the bowl and threw it aside, and all the water leaked down into the sand. And the king said, "My dear falcon, why are you doing this? Maybe you're dizzy in your head. I will collect the water again." And the king collected the water for a second time. And also the second time, the bowl got empty as this cup. That moment, the king really got angry. The king takes his sword, and the falcon, not thinking of anything evil, got hit by the sword. Chop, chop, chop! And the king cut the falcon's arms, and blood went out of the arms of the falcon. And at that very moment, the falcon started to speak in the language of the humans. The falcon said, "My king, my dear friend Sindibad, I am dying now, but what you thought to be beautiful water was poison, because at the top of the stream there is a serpent with an open mouth, and the poison is licking out of the serpent's mouth, and you collected pure poison. And I would have died because of this, and you also. And in that very moment, when the falcon had finished his last sentence, he died. And Sindbad the king saw that he had done a wrong judgment, that he had killed his most beloved friend because of a wrong judgment. And since that very time, the king started to contemplate very well how to judge his friends or even his enemies, to ask God before if that what he was going to do would be right or wrong. And so he did afterwards. And this was the story of King Sindbad and the falcon. Thank you.